Let me ask you something honest. If someone gave you a choice between attending a loud, crowded concert with hundreds of strangers or just staying home alone with a book and a cup of coffee, which one actually sounds like a good time to you? If you hesitated even for a second, this video is for you. And if you didn't hesitate at all because the answer was obviously the book and the coffee, then I really need you to keep watching. Because what most people call antisocial, what your relatives call too quiet, what your coworkers call hard to read, is not a flaw. It's not a personality defect. It's not something you need to fix or push through or apologize for. It's actually a sign that your brain is running software most people don't have access to. While everyone else is experiencing life at 480p, your nervous system is processing the world in 8K IMAX. Every detail, every undercurrent, every unspoken thing in the room. You didn't ask for it, but you've been living with it your whole life. And today, I want to show you exactly what's happening inside your brain when you walk into a crowded room and immediately want to walk back out. Because once you understand the neuroscience behind it, you're never going to see yourself the same way again. Let's start with something most people don't realize about their own brains. Right now, as you're going about your day, your brain is being absolutely flooded with information. Sounds, lights, facial expressions, background conversations, the temperature of the room, the way someone across the hall is standing, thousands of data points, every single second. For most people, about 90% of that gets filtered out automatically. Their brain decides what's important and quietly discards the rest. They can walk into a busy restaurant and just feel the general energy of the room. Loud, lively,
I love the coffee here.
Fun. But your brain doesn't work that way. Your brain records almost everything. The flicker of the overhead lights, the slight tension in someone's voice even when their words sound completely calm, the micro-expression that flashed across a stranger's face for less than a second, the conversation happening 3 tables over that you weren't even trying to hear. Your nervous system catches it all. Researchers call this sensory processing sensitivity, and studies estimate that about 20% of the population is wired this way, 1 in 5 people, processing the world at a depth and intensity that the other 80% genuinely cannot imagine. And here's the thing worth knowing. This trait isn't modern. It isn't a product of anxiety or stress or too much screen time. It's ancient. It's evolutionary. It's the trait that kept our ancestors alive because they were the ones who noticed the rustle in the grass before anyone else did, who sensed something was wrong before they could explain why, who picked up on dangers that others completely missed. Your brain isn't broken. It's running a very old and very sophisticated survival program. It's just that the crowded restaurant is sending it into overdrive. Now let's talk about something you've probably felt your whole life without having the words for it. You don't actually hate people. I want to say that clearly. What you hate is the performance. When you walk into a room full of people, you're not just seeing faces. You're seeing the gap between what people are presenting and what they're actually feeling. You're watching the social masks, the polished small talk, the laughs that are slightly too loud, the smiles that don't quite reach the eyes. And for you, that gap is impossible to ignore. Most people can float through a networking event or a party and just enjoy the surface of it. The noise and the movement and the sense of being around other humans. It feels good, it's stimulating, it's enough. But you're sitting there having a completely different experience. You're processing the subtext of every conversation. You're noticing who's uncomfortable and trying not to show it. You're feeling the emotional weather of the entire room all at once. And small talk, genuinely, feels like being asked to pretend the depth doesn't exist. It feels like sitting down to a meal and being handed a piece of cardboard. Your brain keeps looking for the actual thing. And the actual thing is never there. This isn't arrogance. It's not that you think you're better than everyone else. It's that your brain is wired to go deep, and most social environments are specifically designed to stay shallow. You're not the problem. You're just playing a different game. Now, here's where the neuroscience gets genuinely fascinating. Most people get their social reward from dopamine, that hit of energy and pleasure that comes from external stimulation. Noise, movement, novelty, the excitement of being around a lot of people. For extroverts, A crowded room is like plugging into a charger. The more stimulation, the better they feel. But your primary reward system runs on something different. It runs on acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter associated with focused attention, deep thinking, and internal reflection. It's what activates when you're fully absorbed in something complex and meaningful. When you're reading something that makes you stop and stare at the wall for a minute. When you're in a real conversation. The kind that goes somewhere unexpected and leaves you feeling more awake than when it started. That is your version of a good time. That is what your brain actually runs on. So when you're pushed into a loud, overstimulating environment for hours, you're not just uncomfortable. You're being forced to operate on the wrong fuel entirely. It's like running a diesel engine on gasoline and wondering why it sounds wrong. The solitude isn't emptiness. It's where your brain finally gets to do what it does best. There's one more thing I want you to understand about why social situations cost you so much more than they cost other people. You have what neuroscientists call highly active mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are the part of your brain that allows you to understand and feel what other people are experiencing. They fire when you watch someone else go through something as if you're going through it yourself. They're the biological root of empathy. For most people, mirror neurons give them a sense of connection, a warmth, a feeling of being part of what's happening around them. For you, they function more like a download. You don't just observe the emotions in a room, you absorb them. The anxiety of the person standing by themselves near the door becomes something you feel in your own chest. The tension between two people across the room registers in your body before you've even consciously noticed them. The collective restlessness of a crowded event lands on you like weight. By the time you leave, you're not just tired from the noise and the lights. You're carrying the emotional residue of everyone in that room. And that's why it sometimes takes you 2 or 3 days to feel like yourself again after a 2-hour event. You didn't just attend a party, you processed the inner lives of everyone at it. That's not weakness. That's an enormous amount of invisible work. Now I want to talk about the part of this that I think matters most. The world is very loud about what a full life is supposed to look like. It's supposed to involve plans and events and being around people and staying busy. And somewhere along the way, you absorb the idea that your preference for quiet, for depth, for meaningful solitude was a sign that something in you was missing. It isn't. The silence you seek is not avoidance. It's not fear. It's not a coping mechanism for something you need to work through in therapy. It's where you think. It's where you process. It's where your brain finally stops receiving and starts creating. It's where you access the parts of yourself that the noise drowns out. You're not missing out on life by choosing quiet. You're protecting your ability to actually experience it. Research from Cambridge University found that people who prefer solitude and isolation tend to score significantly higher on emotional intelligence than those who seek constant social stimulation. They read situations more accurately. They understand people more deeply. They make better decisions under pressure. And neuroscience has found that introverted, highly sensitive brains have a thicker layer of gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for complex thought, planning, and self-awareness. You are not less than. You are differently wired for depth. So the next time someone asks why you don't go out more, why you left the party early, why you need the weekend to yourself just to feel human again, you don't owe anyone an explanation. But if you want one, here it is. You're protecting the most valuable thing you have. Your inner clarity, your depth of processing, your ability to feel and think and notice things that most people move through the world completely unaware of. You're not broken. You never were. You're someone who sees what others miss, feels what others skim past, and thinks at a level that most environments simply aren't built for. That's not a problem to solve. That's a rare kind of mind to understand and take care of. If this video felt like someone finally said out loud what you've been feeling for years, this channel is exactly where you belong. Minimal Psychology is here every week, exploring the science behind how we think, feel, and experience the world. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.